Keybase.io, secure group files and chat for everyone. So Keybase is a really interesting tool, and I've been pretty fascinated with it since I learned about it. And well, okay, I can't say I didn't learn about it. I heard about it, started installing it, and then really learned about it. And I did this about a year ago, and I am really maybe it's a long time for a review, but after a year of use, I'm really excited about this as a product. So let's start with the article here on Wikipedia, because I think it has a better description that I kind of wish they had on Keybase.io, because it doesn't sound clear other than, hey, install it and it's great, why you should install it and why it's great. So Keybase is a key directory that maps social media identities to encryption keys, including but not limited to PGP keys in a publicly auditable manner. Keybase offers end-to-end encrypted chat and cloud storage system. Keybase and the chat Keybase file system, respectively, first places files in a public portion of the file system and served up from a public endpoint, as well as locally from file system mounted on a Keybase client. So it's kind of a combination of end-to-end encryption for doing chat, verification of who you are, your identity, and handling of public keys, which has always been a little bit tricky in the past. And then they have this new thing they added a little bit more recently, which is the team chat, which supports up to 1,000 people in each group chat. And this is all free and 100% open source. Now, one of the challenges you may find with public key encryption, first, it's a little bit complicated. But a brief way to explain it to you, I can have a private key that I do not share with the world and a public key that I do. You can take that public key, use that to create an encrypted message that only I can read by decrypting with my private key. And having my public key does not get you any closer to decrypting my private key. This is essentially an asymmetrical key, PGP system, and you can dig deeper in there. But obviously what I said is a oversimplification of a very complicated cryptographic system. They've made this a whole lot easier to do. And let's talk about the founders real quick. Max Krohn and Chris Coyne, I think I'm saying her name right. They founded a couple really popular websites, one being OkCupid, the other one being SparkNotes. They also have several other ventures that they have done. That netted them a lot of funding to start this project here, and this has been their latest baby for really, building a really interesting end-to-end encryption system. Now, they have a great blog post here that sum up a little bit of the encryption, how it works. So it is a complete end-to-end where they don't have the keys encryption system. And that's something I really like about Keybase. You are passing data. So if I'm having a message between me and someone else, they're brokering the data, but they don't see the data. And what I mean by that is the encryption keys are all kept within the Keybase application loaded on my computer. Therefore, they don't have it. They don't have the keys. They don't want the keys. If you have the keys, you're more likely to be attacked. And obviously, that creates a lot of problem. So they go through all the crypto, how they do it. They're extremely public. Like I said, all this is published on GitHub, how their system works and how everything operates. And then they also went through, and this is very recent here, as of February 2019, they spent $100,000 on a code audit. And they have this, once again, fully published if you want to read the code audit. Now, the code audit found a couple high-risk issues, and those high-risk issues were what would happen if the servers were taken over and behaved in a bad way. So they were kind of an edge case. They found those issues. They also said these issues were resolved. So that's what the code audit found, and the publication comes at the heels of, yes, we fixed those things here. And it's, like I said, very detailed. I love companies that are extremely public about everything. They publish they spend $100,000 on a code audit for an open source project, but then go a step further and publish all those details so you can see what changes were made, as opposed to having to dig through the GitHub to figure out what the differences are. So I'm really impressed top to bottom with the entire Keybase, the team, how they work, how the verification system is. Everything is really, really impressive. Now, let's close all these windows here and actually talk about how does it work. And like I said, I'll leave links to this. So here is my public Keybase, keybase.io.launch system. So we'll start here. We have verified a few things about me. Here's my Keybase key. Here's the devices that I have Keybase loaded on. And that's really interesting that they have that information. Signed key encryption key. Signed key encryption key, so you can actually not just see that I sent you something from my mobile. They have all of this information here and the signing key that should be associated with messages I send you from those particular devices. So this gives you a lot of verification. If you're communicating with me via Keybase, you know exactly what device I did it. And I have them all labeled here, and this is all public information. My phone, Tom's office, Parrot top, which is my laptop. And you notice I did reload my laptop, so it has a new date of May 12th. And I reset this up because I wanted to test how that worked again. So because they don't handle the encryption keys, like they're only passing around the encrypted data but not the key, it's important that you install this on more than one place or create a paper copy. And what I mean by this is if you were to destroy my laptop, you were to destroy my desktop, and my phone was somehow to be lost, if I lose these 3 devices and then I lost my paper key, my account would be dead. I would not be able to log into anymore. It would be gone. This is an important feature. So there is no recovery of anything, but that's actually kind of the point, that you can't recover it. Now, the system keeps an entire chain of everything from the time I added it. It's essentially like a blockchain, and how each of it's done. Like I said, all this is done in the clear. I'm not logged in. You can see this as well by going to my account. You can see the devices I have it installed on. The paper one is literally like they sound, and it says oval spell because they give you the first 2 words. There's an entire word list behind it, and this is a way I can have a offline printed paper. You don't have to print it. It says paper, but you can print it. You can keep it in a text file. Just don't keep that text file on these devices because, it wouldn't be much of a backup without it. But it is a backup methodology where you can type a whole series of words in and re-unlock the account to get the system authenticated again. Now, let me cover a little bit else before I show you how that works, because I know it sounds a little confusing, but once you start using it, it becomes a lot more clear. So here's the other verifications that I have. So here's my Twitter verification. You can see the tweet. So from my Twitter account, which you know is me, or weren't sure is me, but from Keybase you can verify is me, here is the link I posted on Twitter. And of course on Twitter, it links back to my Keybase. It's a reciprocal thing. Here is my GitHub. And here's the post in my GitHub repository where I call myself Flipside Creations because I signed up a long time ago, and it's something I use back when I was doing a lot of design work. But once again, it says I am Flipside Creations on GitHub. I am Lawrence Systems on Keybase. Now you're creating that, reciprocal verification of identity. You know who you're talking to. I own LawrenceSystems.com. And I added a keybase.txt file to sign on my website to verify ownership. So LawrenceSystems.keybase.txt shows you that I own LawrenceSystems.com, and I am also the owner of this Keybase file. So now you have a lot of verification of who I am and things like that. Now, the other thing I kind of mentioned, encrypted file systems or online. Let's say I wanted to give you some type of file, but you're not sure if it's really my file. Did Tom send it? This is a public folder system. It does have a private folder, which I'm not going to get into depth today, but it does have that system. And then you can see things that are browsable in my public folder. So if I wanted to give you a list of things or a file, I could put that file there if I wanted it publicly viewable and send that file. And here is my Hello World text file that I created. And it's basically the same username, Lawrence Systems, but instead of keybase.io, you change it to keybase.pub, and I'm able to post files there publicly. Just neat the way they've thought of a lot of this stuff here. And we'll cover real quick how I got that file there in just a second. So the Keybase is, like I said, first, it's got verification. Second, it's got a lot of chat features. Now, end-to-end encryption is important because you want to communicate securely with people. And this is the public group, so I'm able to post this. If you see, I belong to the public DC 313. This is the DEFCON 313 group, and there are some public people in here because this is a group from Detroit that we have. I can't show you some of the stuff in here because, well, I can show you these last messages sent, but all the messages, of course, are private and they're not for public consumption. But Tony's are, because I talked Tony into getting this set up, and he's like, hey, I got it set up. Now let's show you how this works. Remember I said you can see what devices it was sent from? So here is Tony the Gray, encrypted and signed by Tony the Gray from device mint laptop. So if we go over here to Tony, actually we'll put Tony the Gray in here. We can see what devices he has on there. And I know he sent me this from his mint laptop. There's the signed keys from it. And here's the message. Now, couple features in here that are really slick. Exploding messages, very similar to disappearing messages. Now, I kind of like when you go to chat, here's the group chat, here's the individual chat, and for each one, well, only if you're an admin on the group chats, but for each message, I can set either never explode or 7 days, 3 days, etc., for how long I want for the messages to disappear, or explode is a term they use. The reason I find that interesting that they use exploding messages is because it kind of is exploding, because it deletes the key used to create that particular message. So they're using a series of encryption and ciphers, and they don't just delete the message, they delete the cipher and everything that was used to create it, therefore making it impossible to recover that message. And this is like an absolute fascinating way that this system works. So you can feel really confident, and once again, because Keybase themselves does not have that information, it's completely gone, and you can feel confident that no one's man in the middle any of this data. Because even if they were to compromise the Keybase servers, they would then have to send down a completely hacked version of Keybase somehow, and they have methodologies and systems to help escape from that happening. So this would be very, very difficult to do. Not to mention Keybase itself has to be signed by their code system in order to be verified against their servers, etc., etc. So you can trust that this is an excellent system for security. Now here is the files part. And we have team files because we've built some teams in here. So you have the team chat, which shows up in the chat, but this is where you can build, create, or join the team. And they have more details and write-ups about the teams. And you can see who's in there, or you can create a folder of files for those team members. And that's pretty slick the way this works, because it's just kind of a neat system for being able to do that. Now here is where we may put the files: public, team files, private. So this is public, Lawrence Systems public. There's the hello world. Download, delete, copy path, attach another conversation. So even though it's public, I can move it to private. I can have private conversation keys. Me and Xavier were talking about some things. If you don't know who he is, he's from the How They Got Hacked. I don't have any private files in here at the moment, but if I wanted to upload them and then send them as a message and be able to send someone an encrypted file, absolutely I can. And they will facilitate all that. Now, what's interesting is how that works in the file system. So we're going to go over here. It's not just in Keybase, it's being encrypted via the Keybase app, but it actually lives on my computer. And I don't know where it stores for Windows because I don't have any Windows installs of Keybase, but yes, Keybase is cross-platform and supports all of them. But if I go here, here's Hello World. There's the Hello World. We'll insert and add a couple more exclamation points. It takes a second, and it will automatically update that file. So we're going to go over here. Change it to this pub hello world text, and as soon as I refresh it here, away we go. Hello world has more exclamation points. And let's go back and delete them now. It takes a second. It's going to sync, and then we'll refresh the page. And they're gone. So I think the syncing takes all of a few seconds. This is being automatically facilitated by the Keybase app running, and this is the Keybase KBS file system. I like doing it from the command line, but yes, I could do this from other methodologies, such as, opening up in whatever tool you're using for the file manager, as shown here. So here's the same hello world text, and I can save it through this. So that's how it handles some of the file system. But let's talk about a couple other features. Now, I'm not using this at the moment, but I think it's a really slick feature, the fact that it has your Git repositories in here. So it does create encrypted team Gits and encrypted personal Gits. So you can use this for Git and then have it encrypted and shared amongst your team to work on a project without having to expose it to the full GitHub or any other code system like that. You can have your own encrypted one, which is really amazing they built all this in. Back to the devices. Here is the devices that I have. I can revoke or add the devices from any one device. And like I said, if I want to add them, it actually uses a simple QR code system or a key system. You can type it in to get that code added or removed from there. So this is, a really nice way to do this. Now, the other thing I have is on my account, remember my password so it logs in automatically. How do you want to handle previews? How do I want to handle the file links? You can disable the filing if you want. If you want to get rid of it. It has the option to sign out. It also, and I can do this from the command line, it has a Keybase account lockdown mode. Let me show you how that works. So let me show you my logged in Keybase over here. And I keep it in lockdown mode, but this is great. Back to they're only handling some of the data, but you're keeping all the encryption keys. If I want to edit my profile here, your account is in lockdown mode. You can change your email password in a Keybase client or edit anything in here. So if I wanted to go and edit any piece of my account, it won't let me. So you can see that I can't do any type of edits. I can't do any type of changes because the account's in lockdown mode, but I can via the app. And all I have to do if I want to enable the website would be go to disable. Yes. Now the account is unlocked if I wanted to edit things on the website. See, but the important part is this is that extra stopgap layer that they thought about and add it so you can't just pound away at the website. Now I can actually go through here. I can edit my account settings. I can edit things about my Keybase. I can edit my profile. And away you go. So it's pretty slick the way they have really thought about a lot of those things. And go back to, I keep it locked down. So it's now back to lockdown mode, which is the default mode I like to leave it in. That way, I don't want any device changes on here. Ideally, if it's a secure end-to-end encryption system, you also don't want anything to be changed on it. So Keybase is really solid for that. Now, last thing I'll show you that's really impressive here, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to go to my public Keybase. Let's say you want to get me an encrypted message. So we go to PGP encrypt. Once again, like I said, I'm not signed in. You just find the user, the recipient who has their public key posted, which is me. I can go and type a message to myself. So test message. And I spelled message wrong. You get the idea though. This would create the message and then whatever else we want to add to this message, fill in a bunch of filler, encrypt. And now this is the encrypted message you can copy and paste into email. And I know someone right now is getting ready to post in the comments, but you shouldn't put some encrypted secret message in some website in PGP encrypted. I know, obviously, if this website was compromised, if Keybase gets, where the government's watching them or whatever bad actors are watching you dumping keys in here, you would then see whatever secrets were being saved into here. But don't worry, Keybase has your back on that too, because they offer on the side here a basically how-to, and it's not just a how-to, it has the person's name. So Keybase PGP poll Lawrence Systems, and we can search for Xavier E. Johnson. There we go. If we wanted to send an encrypted key to Xavier, same thing. Keybase PGP poll Xavier. The commands on the side aren't just like generic telling you what to do. They literally are dynamic. And so if you're sending a message to Xavier to encrypt, you can do that. So let's show you what it looks like from the command line real quick. So if I were to Keybase PGP poll Xavier D. Johnson, you want to pull his public key in, and it let me pull it in. Then we would say Keybase PGP encrypt M, some secret message, Xavier D. Johnson, because that's our target of who we want to send it to. And it creates a signed PGP key for that. It also, when you go from the command line option, it has more options in this. It actually has a -I option for an input file, so you could input something else more than just what's in the command line here, et cetera, et cetera. But it's obviously one of those things that it makes PGP a little bit easier to use. It makes key handling a lot easier to use. But it's a really slick way if you need to get something that's a secret to someone. Using this is really handy. So now it's created this right here, and you would copy and paste that or send it. And of course, there's more options to export this to its own output file and then get it over to me. But you can see how this can be very scriptable, very automatable, and be built into scripts. If you had a server, you needed it to send you some secret amount of information, you could actually load this up on there and then have it send that as an encrypted message to you via email. Because email, people ask me about secure email. No, email's not secure, but you can encrypt the contents of email. And by using that way, if any data gets compromised in an email server, this is what they have and not whatever the actual contents were. So once again, Keybase is overall a really nice system. It does a great job of helping verify identity, making PGP and other encryption methods and end-to-end encryption much, much more accessible to people. And I, like I said, have been using it for quite a while. I've never had any problems with it. Matter of fact, I'm just excited about all the different features they keep adding, and we keep using it more and more. Especially, we started up some of these group chats, and it's been way better than some of the other systems I've used for group chat. I mean, it's not as full featured looking as Slack or Discord, but Slack and Discord get to see all your messages. Keybase doesn't. This is full end-to-end encryption. So, it may not be as full featured, but if your security is what you care about, and a lot of times when we're dealing with a lot of things, when we need to get information to someone, we don't necessarily want that information to be in the clear. We want the messages to be ephemeral. We want them to have an expiration date on it, and we want to verify what device they received or sent that from. Keybase is the way to go, and they do so much in the public. I love just read through all their blog posts or their GitHub. Like I said, everything they do is open source. Everything they do is, fully in the public, including, like I said, this entire detail. If you want to read the entire summary of their code audit that they went through, it's 41 pages of details, but like I said, they're not leaving anything unturned when it comes to Keybase. So it's a product you can trust. They've done a lot to mitigate it. I have all the faith in this company. I'm excited to see a product like this. I can't even think of anything that's even close in terms of full features and everything else for end-to-end encryption and privacy. All right, thanks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to this channel to see more content, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and maybe YouTube will send you a notice when we post. If you want to hire us for a project that you've seen or discussed in this video, head over to lawrencesystems.com, where we offer both business IT services and consulting services, and are excited to help you with whatever project you want to throw at us. Also, if you want to carry on the discussion further, head over to forums.lawrencesystems.com, where we can keep the conversation going. And if you want to help the channel out in other ways, we offer affiliate links below, which offer discounts for you and a small cut for us. That does help fund this channel. And once again, thanks again for watching this video, and see you on next time.